Hey guys, Josh here to let you know that InterBrews now has a Patreon page. That's right, you can lend your support to the podcast that's been going 7 years strong, bringing you the best and brightest of the craft beer scene here in Houston and beyond. And as a bonus, as a Patreon subscriber, you can get exclusive episodes of the show. That's right, we'll be doing some special interviews and episodes just for you, our supporters. So thank you so much. If you've loved the show, which I hope that is you if you're listening, then head on over to patreon.com/interbrews or interbrews.com/Patreon or anywhere you see the link. Head on over and lend us your support so that we can keep bringing you the show and make it bigger and better than ever. We appreciate it. Now, on to the show.
The following is a presentation of Stewed Productions.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Gary, and we are here at Brew 30 Taphouse
For InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
Perhaps the most flawless execution of the intro ever.
I'd say.
Especially by a duo. You win the InterBrewies Award 2019. At least you're nominated. 2019's early. But for best intro by a duo or group.
So I have to ask, what's the prize?
Still in the works. We're still trying to figure out exactly what an InterBrewies is, how one wins one, and then what happens when one does win said award. But as you heard, Gary, Tiffany, thank you for having us at your fabulous Taphouse. Third place? Would this be considered a third place where you hang out, like not at home, not at work, but a third place?
Definitely.
It's like the welcoming. It's full of. Ready for this, Mike? Mike is with me. My name is Josh. If you didn't know,
Yep.
It's full of Gemütlichkeit. You know what that is?
No, never heard of that word.
It's a German word that, in English, we don't really have a good one-to-one translation. But it
Maybe I
means-
have heard of that because I've heard you say that.
Yeah, it's a place that invokes the feeling of sitting next to a fire with a cozy blanket, surrounded by loved ones. Whatever, all that wrapped into one is what Gemütlichkeit is,
Gemütlichkeit.
and that's what this place gives me.
We're sitting on a nice couch.
Not just nice.
Fantabulous.
Yes.
All synonyms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, guys,
Very
thanks-
comfy.
Yes, thank you.
With built-in outlets.
Yeah, it does have built-in outlets, USB chargers,
A
and
futon, just in case.
Yeah. You really only have to get up to go to the restroom, and
That's it.
depending on your prep work, you may not even have to do that. Yeah, it just depends. Eh? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we're off to a rip-roaring start. All right, Brew 30. Let's get the backstory. Who wants to go first? How did we get to here? Where y'all want to start?
Well, I guess technically it started when I owned Rockwell. Mm-hmm. And as you're aware, we're big in the craft beer
Yes, you are.
industry here in Houston. And in 2016, we closed Rockwell for non-beer related reasons. Mm-hmm. And shortly thereafter, Gary and I got into communication, or Gary got into communication with me and Melinda, and it kind of goes down the rabbit hole from there. We just started talking, and it was kind of expanded.
Yeah, Gary, where did you come into all of this? Because I know the Rockwell story. Rockwell was the first interview that we did, Tiffany and Melinda, for this show, 190 episodes ago or something like that. It was first, so to give me this guy, I'm like, I think I'm going to do a podcast, and they're like, what's a podcast? I'm like, I'm not really sure yet, but I'm going to come there and we're going to talk and record it. And Rockwell was amazing because Tiffany, you and Melinda put together something amazing. There was delicious food, there was fantastic beer, and it was just an inviting place. Mm-hmm. And
But not just you, but your family as well.
Yes.
Your girls.
Yeah, we were there all a lot, and just loved it every time we were there. And sometimes the good Lord smiles down on all of us, and when the clouds are darkest, then things part, and now we're here. So Gary, what's your story? Are you what's your let's get to know Gary.
Yeah, so I guess my journey in the craft beer world started back in 1991 when I moved to Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And that was, when Oregon was pretty well in swing with what they called microbrews back then, and was developing all sorts of fun stuff and growing at a phenomenal rate. So I fell in love with it always from the other side of the bar, if you will, and moved to Houston with my job back in 2002, and felt like I'd just gone back in a time warp or something. I mean, it was really surprising how little craft beer was here, and many bartenders couldn't spell IPA, and we actually had different companies order beers for us to be brought in, packaged beers for us to be brought in, because it was just missing.
Yeah.
And so I always kind of knew there had to be a demand here that just for whatever reason wasn't working. And I just came to understand some of the laws that they ended up changing in 2013.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity. And so when I had a shift in my career, I actually went to Rockwell to have lunch, and because I'd heard a little bit about this place, and as it turns out, they'd already closed, and started surfing around social media and figured out that they had closed, and reached out to Tiffany and Melinda on the social media with a bit of a cryptic, "Hey, I've got an idea" thing, and they were like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" But through that, we hooked up, had lunch, and and the fun part was, I'd already built a couple business models, had a pretty good vision in my head of what we were going to do. And Tiffany said, "Well, I want to go away and put some numbers together." And we got back together, and the alignment was there.
Cool.
It was what we thought we could do, and the vision and what we wanted to put into it, like family friendly, like a pet friendly deck. Those kinds of things were all the similar vision that we wanted to get to. And so we started shopping for a place, and here we are. So.
Yes. So, okay, we're in Cypress. For those listening in the Houston area, I don't know, divorce yourself from the idea of Cypress back in 2000, or but when you talk about 2002, that's the dark ages of Texas craft beer.
Oh yeah.
There was nothing. It was St. Arnold, and I think that's it.
In 2002, that was pretty much it.
Yeah, the Southern Star didn't open until like 2005 or 6 or 7. When was it? Have they hit 10 years yet?
Oh yeah, they're.
Was that last year or a year?
I think this is year 12. So.
Okay, so that would have been like 2007, 2006. But 2002 was way like Dave was probably still at St. Arnold or wherever. It was just St. Arnold, and St. Arnold had that we'd gone through what I guess the brew pub era back in the 90s.
Yeah,
I was
the
like 2 rows,
bank draft and 2 row, and
which that was kind of the. I don't know. That's one of those things where I think I wasn't here. I didn't get to witness it, but just from what I read and see and hear, that's one of those things where maybe somebody came from a Portland or a San Diego or somewhere like this could work, and just people. It's just a different culture at the time. People weren't ready for it. Maybe they tried to push too hard or expand too fast. I don't know what the whole story is, but anyway. But yeah, so Cypress, people hear Cypress and they think country. They think horses and cattle. And Cypress, man. Cypress is
booming.
Yes. Like I said, driving here today, I got a message from 2 brewery owners that are both in Cypress, from Brian and Robert. Yeah, 2 breweries here in Cypress. Is Klaus technically, is that Cypress or is that Houston?
Technically, it's Jersey Village, I believe.
Okay. But it's right here. And then, of course, we're drinking 11 Below. Shout out to 11 Below. Drinking the, is it Dublin Me Luck? They're they're Irish Red Ale, which is delicious.
It is.
It's a fantastic beer. So cheers to 11 Below.
And we've got Bearded Fox down Spring Cypress.
Yep.
Yes.
Tomball.
Yeah, I guess technically that's Tomball. The lines are weird.
It's a Tomball mailing address. It's
But it's close.
Yeah, it's Spring.
Fire Ant, too.
They're on
Tomball, so, yeah.
Yeah. And so.
It's a lot.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't. And Brew 30 is just. Okay, so let's talk about the vision for Brew 30. Cypress is smash cut to today. Cypress is worth a drive up if you're down in town, or if you're at Sugarland, or down south of the Beltway down towards the coast. If you make it up for whatever reason in the Northwest area, Cypress is it's worth a day trip just to hit up all the places. Absolutely. So the vision for Brew 30. When you walk in, you see an inviting place. You see, we're sitting on the couches, and the bar, the smiles were the first thing I noticed when I walked in the other day. And then, so you talked a little bit about your vision. What's walk me through opening up a place like this, because I've done like as any craft beer person that's homebrewed or whatever, you think, oh man, what if I opened a brewery? And then you're like, oh, I don't have the kind of money to do that, or the skill, or the business knowledge. But other than that, I'd be game. But then you're like, okay, well maybe I could open a bar, and then you start looking into it. I'm like, whoa, that's way over my head. So what like, I don't know I'm guessing there's more to it than the when you have the initial thought, it would be cool to open a craft beer spot. But well, like, I don't know. Help me understand like what goes into this.
A lot of planning.
Yeah, and I think part of it was we created a vision that was truly about craft beer, and needed to stick to that. I mean, I think that's the important part of it, and that the vision we created with what we wanted for the beer to all be independent breweries, and then to have a family-friendly environment where people want to call this their, like you said, their third home, their home away from home kind of thing that they can enjoy, and it's been that all staying true to that was for the first challenges, and then just figuring out how to navigate the permitting process was probably the next uninteresting but challenging piece to it.
All right, take me through that. We're in the county. We're in Cypress. You're in the county. You're not in Houston,
correct?
Proper. So from what I hear, and this is typically from the brewers I get the chance to interview, but they say county a little bit easier to navigate than say like in Houston.
It is, but we also started this process right after, or actually we technically started right before Harvey hit. So a lot of things changed right after Harvey, and there were a lot of delays because of that. The fire marshal's office wanted we had to put in a fire detection and monitoring system that, I mean, for the most part, we're in one big room. If we don't know that there's a fire, we're probably had one too many beers.
And if you can't find the door.
And if you can't find it, and the doors have to
Windows.
all swing a certain way.
Yeah.
And so we had one door that didn't swing that way, so we had to basically disable that door.
Did you tell the fire marshal that's Doorist? That look, some doors they were just made a different way.
We don't discriminate.
We don't discriminate.
We don't
But
judge.
apparently-
Yeah, it's like, hey, this is just the way the door swings. I don't understand why that's an issue. The door is just the door. No, doors. What else do they like? I don't know. What else do they regulate? I guess do they cap like a number of tables or anything like that? Or
They do some. There's a formula that they do to figure out how many people this space can hold.
The max occupancy.
Exactly.
Occupancy, yeah. Then it's based on whether you have alcohol, whether you have food, and then based on that you can put the number of tables in you want. But like we're maxed at 135.
And that's the number that they told you.
Yes. They figure the square footage. They figure whether you have alcohol. There's this big formula that's part of NFPA.
okay, what is your square footage here? I'm now fascinated with square footage because I was at. If you're in College Station and you want a cheesesteak or just a steak, as they call
Steaks.
Blake Steaks.
Oh.
I detoured. We were coming from Dallas this weekend, and it would have been 15 minutes faster to go down 45. I was like, no, we're going through Waco and then the College Station because I want to go to Blake's. They have these cheesesteak egg rolls, and then we had fried Oreos. Anyway,
At Blake Steaks?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So Dean, thanks. Dean was there, and he sat down with us. What was I going to say?
Square footage.
Oh, square footage. So yeah, when I sat down, he said, "This is he told me the square footage of the place." It's like, I would have never got. I would have said it was double that. So what?
Well, we're total of 3,300 square feet, but you're seeing about 2/3 of that.
Okay, see that blows my because it's huge. It looks to
Very
me
huge.
This place looks huge.
Yes, it is.
Now when they're doing so they just say 135. Do they count couches? So like if somebody's laying on the couch, that's one. but technically, if somebody wanted to sit between Mike and I,
It's
they
just
could.
the number of people in the door, not the number of seats.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't have that many seats.
Okay. How many seats do you have? Because it looks like a lot. Have you counted?
If you include the couches, we're probably 60, 70.
Okay.
range.
So ample room to get up. Would you allow two-stepping and or waltzing or any kind of dancing Is
We
that
haven't seen anybody brave the dances, even when we've had live music, but it could happen.
Where do you have the live music at?
Right over there in the
In
corner.
front? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all have who have y'all had in? What types of music? And
I would say most of it's, country / classic rock, acoustic guitar, because we're not that big of a space. We have had one band that, has a full drum set and all that, and they did a good job of keeping the volume at a reasonable level. But
Yeah.
usually it's more of an acoustic guitar kind of a setup.
And then we had the Irish group.
And we did. Yeah, we've got some Irish players. They're not a band. They're just a bunch of guys and gals that get together and jam, and
yeah,
they really were fun.
They got bagpipes?
Didn't bring bagpipes, but they brought flutes and other instruments that you don't normally
cool.
see. Yeah.
when was that? I want to come see that.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah,
I
a
think
couple
about
weeks
3
ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get them on a schedule again for February. So.
All right, I'm gonna mark my calendar.
They come everywhere between College Station and Galveston. So
Okay.
it's kind of a good meeting point in between.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's the kind of stuff that you want to just come have a beer and see something interesting and meet your neighbors and stuff like that. So this is
And technically, we had dancing that night.
We technically did. The full-on river dance kind of clogging
Yeah?
dance, and that was really cool. There was a couple gals that were really good at it.
or did they come with them? Or are they like part of the band? Or they just
friends.
They showed
Friends.
up?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, all of it's just kind of a show up. They've got their own Facebook pages, and they say, well, "Here's where we're going to be," and people.
The
just
groupies
go.
come.
Yeah.
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 So what kind of neighbors do we have here? I know you got something going up here, back here, or what kind of neighborly situation? is
To
here?
our north is Holt Heavy Hauling, so it's a commercial heavy hauling service. So they're only here during business hours for the most part.
Yeah, the 8 to 5 kind of world.
And you got the road crew next door.
Yep. Yeah, they're
Which-
doing the widening of Togi.
Yeah. So that's one that they throw up that sign, "Pardon our progress" or whatever. It's like, no, just fix the road. You don't have to apologize. Just
Well, I don't know if you noticed it, but we've got a sign on our big board. It's one that looks the shape of a construction sign that says, "Road construction ahead. We have beer."
that's
Pull over.
Yeah, if you're
Just saying.
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't want to sit through the delay. Yeah, that's what you need to do. You need to find out when they're going to close lanes and things like that, and be like, don't just wait till if you can wait till 6:30, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
You can just cruise on through. Yeah,
Okay.
they'll be done. You've got neighborhoods, just like big neighborhoods coming in around
Rock
this
Creek.
Rock Creek's
further
to
down.
our southeast.
Actually, this property backs up to Rock Creek.
Yeah.
Okay. 'cause it's-
But just north of us, we've got Telge Ranch, and we've got Oak Crest north
Yeah.
of that. So
I'm jealous of those neighborhoods.
I know.
I know. Like this is walking to our golf cart distance. We have a lot
Ride
of
your
golf
bike.
carts. Yeah, if you do that, you'd ride your bike. You're rideable. It's rideable from your house, right? I mean, you ride pretty
motorcycle.
far. Well, you ride far though. You
I
doing the
could.
MS 150 this year?
No.
Okay. Mike's an avid runner and or biker.
cyclist
Right on.
would be
Yes.
the correct
Cyc-
term.
yes. Sorry. Yes. I'm a driver. So that's what I do.
What's your distance?
I mean, wherever the beer's at. Like today, I think this is, I don't know, 12 miles, 11 miles from my house. I
Yeah,
don't know, it's
mine.
not far.
This is close. Close. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's a good meeting point. So, cool. All right. Well, so anything like from the time you decided we're going to do, well, one, when did you come up with Brew 30? Was that right off the bat, or was that
No, we were playing around with names a little bit.
did that take some time?
It did take a little
A
time.
little
Okay.
bit, yeah.
Nice pun.
Yes. So from the check. All right. So from the time you decided, all right, we're going to do this, until the day you were able to open your doors, what was the?
Oh boy. So
That's
we met in January of 17, formed the LLC in February, and we opened in April of 18.
Okay.
So
about-
it is 14 months ish.
Yeah.
It took 7 months, I think, was about the number for us to find the location we liked, because you can't be closer than 300 feet to a school, and there's a Montessori school on every corner.
Yeah.
So
Because we are in the suburbs.
Yes, and churches too, right? Is it?
Churches are growing. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
300 door to door for churches, so they're a little bit more space there, but a little easier to do that. But yeah, it's
Yeah, the
still
school's
an
the
issue.
property. This church
Yep.
is the
Property
door.
line.
Exactly.
Okay. Maybe if you could figure out a way, like if you were like $2.95, or like, I will build you another door,
Right.
and donate to the church. They're like, all right, sold. Okay, so yeah, what are some of those other rules? So it's schools and churches. What other like zoning type deals that go into that sort of thing? Is it?
I think that's
those are
the big
main.
one?
Those are the main ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, technically, when you, and this is anybody, when you apply for your TABC, you've got to let notice to any of the neighbors. So we had to, that are within 300 feet. So we had to send letters to the folks in the back part of Rock Creek and the neighbors across the street and stuff, saying we're going to be a bar, and they can argue if they want to.
Okay. Just fair warning. There'd be
Right.
good times and happy people around your place.
Right.
I would imagine, and obviously, if you take 2 seconds on Facebook, you know that it's not everybody's cool, but it seems like more people are cool now, especially when you say craft beer versus like just a sawdust joint.
A regular, like an ice house. Yeah. And this particular space had a previous life as a bar that did not have a great reputation. So that was a little bit we had to fight with as people came in and like, oh, I remember when this was, I'm going to protect the departed here, but but they remembered it in its previous life. They're like, wow, this is so much nicer.
Yeah.
And everything is calm.
And clean.
And clean. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like Roadhouse, that Timeless Story Roadhouse, Mike.
What's that? I don't know what
the
that
movie
is.
Roadhouse.
Oh,
You know.
you just lost all kinds of cred.
Have you seen Roadhouse?
Yeah, it's been a while. We've talked about this. Yeah, it's been a while since
Another
I've seen
one of our friends that does the show with us sometimes, Schomburg. He's never seen it. Is he 40?
it. Yeah, he just turned
He
40.
just turned 40. He's never
Are you
seen.
still friends with him?
Well, we keep him around. No, the thing is, he almost watched it on AMC the other day, and I was like, you can't watch an edited version of. So we're gonna bring him into. We're gonna do like we're all gonna wear, high cut jeans and like maybe like a jean vest and cut our hair into mullets or something. And is that we can pause and get that if we need to. Business going on, right? Like that's my next line of questioning. So people think when you're doing like an establishment like this, I say doing, when you're running an establishment like this, it's just when you're open, you're pouring beers and everybody. But when does your day typically start? Or does it ever end?
It never ends.
Yeah. We're usually gather up here at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we're here till at least 10 o'clock at night. So it's 5, 6, 12 a week kind of thing.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah. So hopefully you enjoy it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
If you didn't, it would be miserable, right?
Yeah.
No, we do enjoy it.
Okay. So letting the neighbors know. Was there anybody other than the people that came in to compare it? Was there any
Backlash?
hesitancy from?
So one of my favorite stories is we got a neighbor business a couple lots over, and they had a party one night, and they had some music going pretty doggone loud.
Yeah.
And it was after one of our events, and we were in here cleaning up a little after 10 o'clock, and we could hear their music over top of our music in here, right? So it was pretty good volume. And the phone rang, and I was almost hesitant to pick up the phone because, we were trying to get out of here and move on. But I went ahead and picked it up, and this lady came on and said, "Are you the ones making all that loud music? Because we've got children and they need to go to bed. It's a school night, blah, blah, blah." And she just started ripping into me. My husband said it must be that new bar. So the good news is I did grab the phone and was able to at least clear our good name that we weren't the ones playing the music loud.
Yeah.
You're able to hear the phone ring over the music at least.
Right.
It's like, well, no, here you can hear. What was it? At least good music? Was it?
It actually wasn't bad. It was some Latin music.
Was it just a house party or?
It was more than the house party.
Yeah.
It was-
All right, so you make it through all the letting your neighbors know. You made it through the licensing process. You made it through the finding the location. Like, did you always think Cypress was going to be the location? Was that?
Yeah. I think we wanted to stay. We did look around.
Do you live in Cypress?
I do. I'm over in Fairfield.
Oh, me too. We should have carpooled.
All right. So that's why you were going by Wicked Twisted
Well, yeah,
Acre.
I followed, yeah, both of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I think we did, when we got frustrated, we weren't finding any locations we were happy with. We did stretch out a little bit to Tomball, but, I think we just had a sense that Cypress was just ready for something like this.
Yeah.
We both wanted to be able to share this with our neighbors and our friends that live in the area. And when you start adding alcohol and driving distance, that isn't a great mix. And
Yeah.
so we wanted to keep it close to home. And we also knew that this area was receptive to craft beer from my time at Rockwell.
Yeah.
And we wanted to keep that momentum going as well.
Yeah, Rockwell really was a primer for the like. That was a. I don't know if you like. I hear a lot of people like talk whimsically about Rockwell, and then I get to tell them about, well, hey, you're in luck. I literally probably a dozen people in the last few months that I've talked to, just when my daughters are at gymnastics or we're at church or whatever, and we just start talking about. They're like, oh, you do that podcast, and what's a good place for beer around here? And it comes up in the conversation regularly. But it's one of those things where you look back and you're like, in the moment, it was gut wrenching. All of that. Like I remember just watching it. It's like
I remember the day you came and picked up your barrel.
Still got him in the studio.
I know.
Yeah. It was such a good thing, but then now to look back on it and understand, okay, here we are. It's all worth going through all of that. But yes, I'm so glad that y'all opened this in Cypress. So, now one of the things you just mentioned about, driving distances and things like that, we're super fortunate in 2019 and going forward, technology and innovation is and the popularity of craft beer, it's all kind of converging. So you've got breweries closer, you've got establishments like Brew 30 closer, and you've got things like Uber and Lyft, and eventually robot cars or whatever take us places where things like DUI should be going way down. If they haven't, I would imagine they're on their way down. And Tiffany, you were a
I was a Harris County deputy, yes, sir.
Yeah. I would imagine that you could probably give us some pretty gruesome graphic stories on alcohol related incidents and things like that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you have any like really crazy stories, like people like doing crazy stuff? I mean, we can save it for later if you want to mull that over, but
there's all kinds of great stories about people who have drank a little alcohol, maybe stripped down naked and run down 249.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Northbound.
Wasn't me. I'm taking that. I'm making that note.
Here's your day off. You know what? You're allowed to relax on your day off. Whatever you need to do to unwind. That's a stressful job. Go with it. Was it northbound or southbound?
She was running southbound of the northbound lanes. So.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's
full effect.
Yeah. There you go. Mike,
at like 8:00 in the morning.
Oh yeah. Well, that's prime. I mean, if you're gonna be, it's rush hour. Was it on the weekend or was it a weekday?
I think it was either a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Wow, that's
rough. Yeah.
She had that. Okay, those Mondays.
Binger.
Yeah, those. Now, I always love hearing the story. So Mike does volunteer firefighting, and what? Why are you making this? I'm just saying. And then you've done police work and
done the firefighting too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Which one? Where?
Cy Creek.
Okay. Our neighbor. Yeah. I'm a Klein.
I figured when you told me where you lived.
I want to hear some. Okay, so what? Like, do y'all both have like awesome chili recipes? Is that what's the thing that brings every firefighter together? Is there like one thing? Like, do y'all have a
putting the wet stuff on the red stuff?
There you go.
The wet stuff on the red stuff. Okay, I like it.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. No like code. Y'all have like when bikers drive by and they do that low wave thing. Do firefighters have like a sizzle wave or something that you do? No, nothing like that. You're still doing firefighting, right?
Mm-hmm.
When was your last shift?
Last week.
When's your next shift?
Next week.
Have you seen anything crazy? Any ladies running down 249?
No, not.
Nothing like that.
That wouldn't be our call. It'd be the.
You've not had
medic and or police.
I was going to say
That's not.
Cy Creek EMS showed up, so.
Yeah. You've not rescued anybody from precarious situations. Mm-hmm. Just all pretty standard fires and wrecks and things like that. That's disappointing. I'm disappointed in you, Mike.
Hey man,
I want to hear some crazy stories.
The area's staying safe.
I guess so. We're all
good.
just straight laced up here.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
That's over in Klein. We got some good stuff over here.
Yeah. Is it a little wild in Cypress compared to? I don't know. I mean, I guess back in the day, especially. I say back in the day, like early 2000s. Yeah, there was just a bunch of horses and stuff too. So you got to do something to kill the time. Yeah, we'll talk later about some of those stories.
But to your point about drinking and driving and trying to avoid that, one of the fun stories I've got is we have a couple that comes on a regular basis that they were sitting at the bar and had a couple of beers already, and I heard him say something about Uber, so I thought they were ready to go, and so I slid over to expecting him to ask for the bill, and he said, "I'll have another pint." So I go fetch him a pint, came back, and he said he had his Uber app open. He was talking to his wife, and he said, "Now, if you hop in the car right now, you'll be home in 8 minutes, and the Uber driver's 8 minutes away, so you can just meet him in the driveway and drop off the car and come back."
Yeah.
And she was back in the seat 16 minutes later, and they Ubered home together that night, but they came in for just one or two and decided they wanted to stay, but the prudent thing to do was to get rid of the car.
So she drove home?
She drove home.
Got
The
Uber met him there, or her there?
Came back.
She came right back. She didn't even go in the house.
That's a veteran move.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have thought about that one, but that's
Yeah, that's one we need to get out there, because why not? Why not make sure you're safe?
the old boomerang Uber.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what you. Yeah.
I like that. The boomerang. I got
Yeah,
it.
that's
Come right back.
That's super smart. That's one where you figure out beer motivates so much. Like, how can I keep drinking beer? It's like, what do I need to do to make this like viable? What viable solution can I come up with? All right. And he sent his wife, which is, even he was able to figure that one
He
out.
knocked back a couple more pints.
I was going to say, I think he had an extra one or two while she was gone.
That's called insurance. Oh yeah, like I've pulled that move before. Oh, I didn't realize we were doing that. I just had one more beer.
Yeah, no, me too. Me
Open
too.
this one. Could you do it? But most of the time, wives are pretty cool, and they're like, "All right, fine." Do you remember what they were drinking, in particular?
Well, I'm sure it was a stout for him.
I think he was drinking the Nitro Old Chub at that time.
That could be.
Okay,
That could be.
that is a good one.
We don't want to give away too much.
Right, yeah.
You got to get out here and try it yourself.
Well, and then you also have to keep
No,
every
just don't want-
anonymity.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people. Somebody's listening. Like, I know exactly who that was.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I ask because I want to transition into. You have so many good beers on tap. And Tiffany, I think I've asked you this question before, maybe in one of our previous interviews, but I always love to hear kind of how you break it down when you're putting up your tap wall and what the beers on your beer list. What is your starting point?
Well, we like to keep a balanced tap list. We like to have a little bit of something for everybody. So we're going to have the lagers and the blondes for the intro craft beer drinker. We're going to make sure we have plenty of IPAs for the seasoned hophead. We're going to have some malty stuff, some Scotch ale, some browns for those who tend to gravitate toward more malty like I do. And, of course, we're going to have stouts, and we're going to have the high ABV barley wines and Belgians and that
For
kind
the
of thing.
Uberers.
For the Ubers, yeah, basically. But we like to keep it pretty balanced. We like to keep it local as much as we can, but we do like to have a little bit of a reach too, and we like to represent the Pacific Northwest since Gary spent time there, and we just it's a constant. Let's see what's available. We want to have the latest and greatest, but we want to also have the tried and true on.
Yeah, we're looking for the stuff that you can't find in the grocery stores and the average places around town. We're looking for unique stuff. We get some beers that aren't always available through distribution here. So we've got some friends that help us get fun stuff that you can't get anywhere else.
We'll go fetch when we need to, and to make sure that you're going to have a great selection here at Brew 30.
Okay. Now, I have to add, one, Pacific Northwest beers that are near and dear to your heart. Do you have any that you just love beyond others, or?
Oh, there's
I'm gonna put you on the spot.
There's just so many. I mean, I have a bit of a fond place in my heart for Deschutes.
Okay.
They actually we've got a vacation home in Central Oregon, and it's 20 minutes from there. So
Oh, cool.
one of the favorite stops. But in that little town of 70,000 people, there's 20 breweries. So it's really hard to have too many that you would say above the rest, because there are just so many to enjoy.
Yeah. I want to get up there so bad.
Yeah, go to Bend. It's just a neat place. It's a neat spot. But then once you hit Portland, it's there's a brewery on every corner kind of thing. So
There.
I've gone to Portland a couple of times, and I think one time when I was there, every meal I drank a beer at, it was a different beer in a different brewery. I mean, it was just no two breweries the same. I was there for 8 days.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, don't they have a lot of they're mostly like small, like neighborhood type breweries?
they have a lot of those. Yes.
Yeah.
Then they got some good sized ones too.
Are there,
The Full Sails, the Deschutes, and
yeah.
I want to go.
Road trip.
Oh, that was you. I thought that was inside my head. I was like, I know I do. Why?
Oregon.
Seriously, you sounded a lot like the voice inside my head right there.
yeah, it was funny. I was talking to the owner of Sun River Brewing, which is where we've got our place, and he was saying that every time that a new brewery opens in Bend or that area, that everybody goes, okay, that's it. We're saturated. Something's got to give. Something's not going to survive here, and it does.
Yeah.
And then somebody opens another one. They're like, okay, for sure, it's it. This is it. We're done. And it survives. So it just, it's a great environment for the craft beer lovers.
Yeah. You hear a lot of talk, a lot of people talking online, basically, of, like, oh, we've got because we've had a lot of breweries in the Houston area. I think we're around 50 now, and there's,
6.5 million people and 50 breweries.
Yeah, that's the number. I mean, I think there's still a lot of beer evangelism that needs to happen. I think there's still a lot of people that don't really get it yet. But yeah, I don't think we're anywhere even close. But I don't know what that number will be. I don't know. Like, is the culture that much different up there than it is here? To where could we handle that many breweries like per capita or whatever? That's one of those things I sit there and when I'm drinking a beer, I kind of think about that kind of stuff.
So when you make your road trip, one thing to look for is just go to a grocery store and look at the beer aisle, because here most of them you'll see more than 50% are the national brands, the domestics as they call them, and then all of the others are crammed into the other half of that. All of the craft beers are crammed into the other half of it. Up there it's more like 80-20, and the domestics got 20%.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you look at that in here, I mean, most of it's the same beer, just in different.
Yeah, different formats.
Yeah, I was watching. Did you realize that Beer Wars, the documentary, is 10 years old now, and you go back and watch it, and you're like, man, things have changed so much.
Absolutely.
But we're still dealing with some. That was one of the things that they talked about. So.
Yeah, you can only get your, mass market domestic beer, 45 different ways to get the same liquid.
Yeah.
Do you need a 12-ounce can, a 16-ounce can, a 40-ounce can? I mean,
One of those little stubby cans.
Yeah.
Then the bottles, the different shaped bottles.
and you have to have the skinny cans, the tall skinny ones. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
12-pack, 6-pack, 18-pack,
40-pack.
40-pack. Do they do 40-packs?
I don't know.
We used to do 30-packs.
You can get a 99-pack at Austin Beer Works. so-
Yeah, right? That's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Yeah.
But I mean, to your point about the evangelism, there's hardly a day goes by that somebody doesn't come in here that says, I don't know what to order. I only drink, pick your domestic, right? And it's a lot of fun to walk them through it. Sometimes it's difficult because it seems like everything you put in front of them they don't want, but then you find that one and suddenly like, oh. And sometimes it's completely random, like always drink some sort of a lager or pilsner, but guess what? They fell in love with a coffee porter.
Yeah.
Just completely went off the rails with it.
That's the one that gets me. Like, I always think, I'm pretty good at pairing people with beers. Let me ask you 3 questions, and I'll be able to nail what it is you'll like. But sometimes people are just so random.
What are those questions that you ask them?
What flavors are you into? What kind of foods do you like? And what's your sign? And I don't ask that. I don't know. I'm saying in average it's about 3. Like, what do you normally drink? Typically I'll start there, and they'll say like wine or whatever, or they'll say I don't really drink alcohol. The vodka or something like that. Like, okay. And then, what flavors what do you normally, what foods are you into? What flavors are you into? And then if they say that they're into something, I'll ask, well, hey, do you like sour candy, or do you like chocolate, or do you like, if they start saying no to sour candy, then I'm like, okay, I won't send you in the sour direction. But if you like chocolate, well, then here's this whole line of, places we can start.
Okay.
So, but that's the thing is, like, sometimes you ask that and they don't like what you think they're going to like, but then they try something like maybe they do like a
sour,
a goza or something. Yeah. So,
What I like is when you get the big coffee drinker that loves everything coffee and they don't like the coffee stouts.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't taste like coffee.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. But then you find they'll find something that they like, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was having this conversation the other day when I had my morning, like my third cup of coffee in my hand. I was like, I think I like coffee as much as I like beer. And I was like, but do I? And I had this whole like inner dialogue, like battle, like, can I really say that? But I think people who really like coffee, they just love flavor, and
I think that's what it comes down to.
yes. Some people don't, and that's fine. Some people just don't like flavor, and they like the mundane and the familiar, and they don't want to be challenged in that area. And those are the people that typically kind of will drink the macro type stuff. And I guess it's okay to be, I guess. I think you can do better in life.
We always say that everybody's on a different place on their craft beer journey.
Yeah.
We just want to help them make that next step in that journey.
Absolutely.
Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to take a different, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was too. Well, now speaking of the craft beer journey, okay, you got it.
I was going to ask Tiffany.
We're on the same page.
Simpatico.
So,
some pink bootsico. Is that where you're going?
No, I do see that. I'll save that for you.
What?
Craft beer journey. Did I, before you opened Rockwell or before you started that, was there any homebrewing, or what kind of got you into craft beer and you into craft beer?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I don't know if we
that's a good
hit on
question.
that, but
I don't, not really, but go. That's
and
good.
do either one of y'all, did y'all start with homebrewing or just, hey, I like this better than that, or how
I've done a little home brewing, but my craft beer journey started with non-craft beer. Beer was most prevalent in my household as a kid, and I drank quite a bit underage with permission, and so beer was a natural gravitation as I got older to try it, and I started branching out and trying different things. On one of my trips to Oregon, I think that's where I really fell in love with craft beer, and kind of started branching out from there and trying different things, and came across that same scenario of there's not a lot here in Houston, and when I did open Rockwell, I was constantly scrounging to find the really good stuff, and making those relationships and to make sure that we got the good stuff, because some of these out-of-town distributors would send just a little bit of the good stuff, and you got all of the okay stuff that the distributors didn't always take care of. It wasn't rotated properly because they didn't know what craft beer was. They just knew it was some beer that came from Deschutes in Oregon. They didn't know that those IPAs, those hops were going to fall off.
Yeah.
So kegs would sit there until somebody would take them. And, starting to build those relationships with the breweries is how we got the good beer here. And as the local breweries began to grow, it's how they got their foothold into establishments like Rockwell or Brew 30, was by coming in and sampling beer and showing not just us but the customers how good the beer was, and staying on top of it if there was an issue with the distributors and that kind of thing.
Yeah. Gary, what was your first beer ever?
Oh boy. Going liking all the way back, it could have been something as awful as Old Milwaukee,
Yeah.
So it was back in the day, as they say. But for me, it was, I'd had the opportunity to travel internationally, and so I had different beers in Germanic countries. So you realize that there's something different out there. But even that, I didn't really figure it out until I hit the Northwest and was able to really start experiencing them on a regular basis. They were just there, and you start stretching the palate with different stuff that you really like, and then so like I said earlier, most of mine time was spent on this side of the bar, if you will, the customer side of the bar. But when as time's gone along, I've done home brewing and those kinds of things to have a better understanding of the whole process and what goes in it and how that works. And the process itself is pretty straightforward. There's no necessarily any brain surgery in the process other than sanitize the heck out of everything you see. But beyond that, it's the recipes, and that's where the fun part comes in.
Yeah. Speaking of brewing, well, tell you what, I see 3 empty glasses. I'm going to hit a pause button. And I think we should, because I want to get in on Tiffany's trip to Austin and how jealous I was from all the stuff she got to do this weekend. So we'll pause. Nobody, you won't even know we're gone, as I like to say, right? I shouldn't even have said it.
No.
I probably should have just hit pause, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, refills, and we'll be back after this this momentary blip. That's all it is. It's just a momentary blip. All right, we're back with full glasses and warm hearts. Mike, what did you get on your first go around? Do you remember?
Klaus's Edelweizen.
Yeah, how was it?
Delicious. That's my style.
Yeah, there you go, Thomas. And Gary, what'd you have on your first? Are you still on your first?
Yeah, well, I refilled it a little bit, but yeah, I'm Southern Yankees, similar to what you got
Same
now.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Southern Yankee Aggressive Sunscreen
Oh, is that
Ale.
Okay, there we go. Shout out to Southern Yankee. They're good. They're good stuff. All right, Tiffany, what'd you get before we take it?
This go round, I went with the Guadalupe Honey Ale.
Okay. Guadalupe.
And the first one?
The first one was Dublin Me Luck.
Yeah, that's what I went
too
with
bad.
first round, and now I went Irish, and now I'm going, I guess, English with the dry stout, which I guess is an Irish style dry
Yeah, it is
stout,
Irish, yeah.
technically, if you're going like Guinness, but from Real Ale, the dry stout on nitro. Smells so good. The roasty, that's just good stuff. It's like it's Ireland in my belly today. It's St. Patrick's Day. That's okay.
You got a mustache?
Mhm.
Double mustache?
Double stash.
Yeah.
Double stash Irish dry stout. Speaking of Real Ale, Tiffany,
Yeah.
this is where we transition to this past weekend, where you got to go to Austin and hang out with a whole bunch of cool ladies, and I got Chris Bradley, and
He's a bearded lady. What can we say?
yeah, but the Pink Boot Society. Was it a conference or just meetup or?
It was a conference. It's only the second one Pink Boots has ever done. So it was exciting to have the second one to be in Texas.
Yeah.
And we had a great showing of women from Texas. And Houston represented quite well.
Yeah.
But actually the day before the conference, or that the conference started, we actually, all the 3 Texas chapters, us, Austin, and North Texas Pink Boots, came together at Real Ale and brewed a little beer on their pilot system. We only brewed like 8.5 barrels. And we made a little American IPA with last year's Pink Boots hops.
Okay.
So every year the Pink Boot Society at GABF, they all come together and they pick a blend of hops, and YCH Hops blends it for us, pelletizes it, and weighs it out in 11-pound bags. And it's supposed to be for the collaboration brew on International Women's Day, which is March 8th.
Okay.
Real Ale didn't get a chance to brew a beer last year for that, so they're like, hey, all the ladies are coming together, let's do it now.
Yeah.
Which this year is going to be a really big year. YCH is actually going to be creating 30,000 pounds of the Pink Boots blend.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
A percentage of the money from the sale goes to scholarships for women to go to brew school or other schools that
cool.
will increase their beer education.
Yeah. There's a lot of dudes that hear that and they're going to brew school and they're like, yes. There's finally won't just be a bunch of guys. It'll be great.
When I saw all y'all's posts from this past weekend, it reminded me when I was 7 or 8. I have 2 older sisters, and they always got to do all the cool stuff when I was too young. And I was like, oh man, I want to go do that. Like they got to go on all the cool trips with school and all that kind of stuff, and I was too young to go. And I was like, man, it made me. I was so envious. Y'all got to do some cool stuff.
Yeah, we did. We had some sensory training. We 2 different ways. We did off-flavor training, but then we did. We got to work with Jessie Smith from St. Arnold, and she did a class on hosting sensory panels. So you can learn more about your beer and the flavors you get from it.
Yeah.
What you don't want to get from it.
Yeah, that's always fun.
And kind of gave us a rundown of what they do every week at St. Arnold to make sure you get some really great beer.
Yeah. What was your favorite off flavor?
Is that an oxymoron?
I can't say that I really have a favorite off flavor. My least non-appealing off flavor would probably be the and that would have to be the just the base beer to begin with, because that's Miller Lite as it is. So no.
What's the dirty diaper one? I forget what that one's called. I took Bev's class.
So what we covered this week wasn't quite as in depth as what Bev does. We just did the 4 primary ones that you're going to come across. The skunking, the wet cardboard,
The
diacetyl, DMS.
Yeah. Do you know those, Mike? So the cardboard, what is that? That's age or oxygen,
That's
right?
It's
Skunking, right?
it's light struck.
Yeah, light struck. That's why you don't like clear bottles or a
Like
no-no.
Corona has that lovely odor to it.
Yeah.
Because those clear bottles.
Yeah, even Heineken, right?
Yeah.
Like Heineken in
anything green
The
bottle.
green
yeah.
ones.
Yeah, that's what people think. That's just how Heineken tastes. It's like, oh, it's supposed to be a little. It's like European or something.
They have to skunk it in the kegs when they ship it to the U.S. because that's
People
what we're
expect
used
it.
to. Exactly.
So if you go over to your where are they?
Heineken.
Yeah, where are they?
Wherever.
Denmark or wherever they're from.
Belgium.
Tastes different.
Belgium or wherever.
Belgium.
Yeah. Yeah, it tastes like actual like fresh beer, I guess, right? Like I don't know, like just.
Oh, that's
regular.
weird.
Yeah.
Tastes
Now,
like a premium pale lager.
do you think they laugh at us?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
It's like these Americans drink skunk ass beer. I mean, literally, like it's the same chemical, right? It's like when the light hits the hops and it's a light. I don't remember the name of the chem. It's somebody way smarter than me had it in a book somewhere. Do you remember?
I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, some dimethyl blah 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 blah
Yeah.
dash something 3 dash dash dash
two.
dash
Yeah.
2. Yeah, something something something. Yeah, it's a long, like this long, and depending on your size font word. But it's like the same chemical that when you see a skunk on the side of the road and smell it. It's not as intense. I guess not, but same chemical.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the other one you said? DMS.
And
Is DMS the
corn.
corn and then diacetyl? Is diacetyl or diacetyl?
Diacetyl.
Diacetyl. That's the is that green apple?
Butterscotch.
Butterscotch. Okay. What's the green apple? That's something.
That's
It's-
another one.
yeah.
I can't remember that one off the top of my head.
Yeah. So anyway, if you do like Cicerone certification or
Those are the 4 off flavors.
No, there's a lot more than that. Those
Yeah.
are the most
The ones that
common-
you did.
Yeah, those are the ones we did.
yeah, so if you find if you get an old beer at a bar, it'll have like a cardboard, especially as it warms up. That's why they serve the macro beer so cold. You can get by
Longer?
Because
Yeah.
the cold masks the flavor.
Yeah, it'll just kill your taste buds. So as cold as the Rockies means you can't taste anything. Just saying. So chilled mugs. You have a mug chiller?
No. Why would we chill our mugs?
I don't know. I'm just asking.
No, all our glasses are served at room temperature here.
See?
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. So don't chill those mugs. But a lot of people do that. And it sounds cool, I guess. It was great marketing for a while. Frosty mug.
Yeah.
It's great for root beer
Beer
floats.
served at 28 degrees.
It's good for root beer floats, I suppose. Keep your
Ice cream cold.
Ice cream cold. Yeah.
So you were telling me you went to a bunch of different breweries and beer places.
Yeah, we did. We did quite a few. We kicked it off Thursday night at the Brewtorium in Austin.
How is that? I want to go.
What is
there.
that? Is it actual?
It's a brewery.
It's a brewery. Actually, I guess it would be a brew pub because they have a restaurant. Great location. It was close to the hotel. Nice big space. They had not only us going on, and when you talk about having 500 women from all over the U.S. invade your space, it's that poor hotel. I'm sure they're still recovering. But they were holding a Rotary event as well as being open to the public, and they did a fine job of keeping up with everything. And they served some great beer. I started off with their lager, which their Hellas. It was fantastic, very light, refreshing. Had their oatmeal stout with a little toasted marshmallow in it.
Yeah.
Very tasty.
You went from one end to the other.
Yeah. I had something in between, but I don't remember what it was. It was a lot of beer this weekend.
I bet.
A lot of beer. The Brewtorium. Yeah.
In Austin.
I highly recommend them. A lot of great breweries up there as well. You got Black Star Co-op. We hit them a couple of times. We hit Hops and Grains, Austin Beer Works, Jester King. We had an evening out with Pink Boot Society at Oscar Blues. That was a great time as well.
Cool.
How many days was it?
4.
Long weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Thursday was really the just check-in day, and we really took the day to go brew beer at Real Ale. That was most of our day. I mean, we started brewing at around 10 a.m., and we transferred to the fermenter about 5:30, so it was a pretty full day.
Yeah.
And but we sampled a few brewery-only beers, and actually got to taste a little bit of the spirits, too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
The whiskey is very tasty.
Yeah. Did y'all have like a bus take y'all out there or something?
No, we all met there. So
Okay.
I was drinking half pints, drinking responsibly, because I was driving. And then from there we went on to Austin.
Okay.
And we may or may not have taken a few low-fill cans for drinking at the hotel later
Yeah.
on that evening and sharing with some
I mean,
other girls.
you can't sell them, right? If they're
No,
half fills, it's
no.
like,
Yeah,
what are we
they're
gonna do with these? Where are we gonna put them? How about my trunk?
Yeah, that
And it
works.
Yeah. No, the Real Ale is worth going on if you've not been out there.
I have.
Just go to 290 and take a left.
No, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've had the spirits as well.
Have you?
Mhm.
I have not. What do they make?
They make a great whiskey.
Yeah.
They actually have 2 different versions of it. They have the blended and the single barrel.
Okay.
And they make a gin that's very nice as well. And they were actually running the gin when we were back in the distilling part of the building, and beautiful smell.
What goes into gin is made from it's
Juniper.
Juniper.
Yeah, juniper berries. That's cool.
Yeah, it's theirs isn't overly junipery. It's very nice.
It was hopped, right?
No, that's Eighth Wonders that you sampled the other
Right.
day.
That's right. That was
Had to go all the way to Austin, drink
Wait,
some
Eighth
Eighth Wonder hop gin. Yeah.
Okay.
But I actually brought back a bottle of the single barrel whiskey that was made from their 20th anniversary rye IPA
Okay.
without hops added.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, it's a whole nother thing. Like, they share a common starting point,
Yeah.
spirits and beer, but then they diverge.
Yeah, well, Real Ale uses all of their beers to create their spirits.
Okay. How
So-
many you all right there? Okay. Sorry, called
So they use their award-winning, their GABF gold medal-winning Real Heavy to make their whiskey.
Okay.
Can't go wrong there.
Yeah, no. No, that sounds
great beer.
Yeah, yeah. They how many breweries are now doing spirits? So you said
Ooh.
Eighth Wonder,
Eighth
Real Ale,
Wonder, Real Ale.
Ranger Creek.
Ranger Creek started it.
Yeah.
There's more and more popping up. There's a couple in Dallas now. Deep Ellum.
Yeah.
Who else?
I know there's more.
Is mead a spirit?
No.
No.
It's
Okay.
a
No, it's a
honey wine.
Yeah, technically wine. But I guess you'd need the same. What kind of? I guess you'd need a different license for.
You'd have to have a winery license for mead.
And what about distilling?
Distilling is a distiller's permit.
Okay.
Yeah, but usually around the country, it's getting more and more common to share
I mean,
craft beer and spirits.
Yeah.
Real Ale started not Real Ale. Ranger Creek started it all because they really wanted to get into the whiskey business. And, all right, we got it in the barrels. Now what do we do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Got to
we
wait
have-
2 years.
we have this equipment that makes beer, too. Why don't we make beer? And they had to fight for the right to be able to make beer and whiskey in the same building.
Yeah.
And
It's just so silly. It's like, I don't know what I mean, I guess you want that. Somebody who's supposed to enforce a law, you want that. You want that. They need that quality of, is that allowed? Like that needs to be the first question that particular person asks. But it should take about 2 seconds to look at that whole thing and be like, it's not that big a deal, you know. Do we need to pause? Oh, hey. No, we don't. How's it going?
Doing great. How are you?
Good, good. Linda sauntered in like a rock star. Just got it on like, got her glasses.
But where's
on.
my truck?
Yeah. Yeah. Did you drive it up?
no.
No.
It's in the builders.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, Melinda. She's here.
Come join us.
Yeah.
Have a seat.
Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
We're doing great.
Good.
What's on the menu for today?
Oh, let's see. The Duke,
Yeah.
which is the stuffed burger that everybody's going after, and our wings, of course.
Yeah.
But
Bring
And
every.
the samurai?
yes, we do have the samurai finally, which is grilled pineapple and a really sweet, sticky teriyaki sauce. Everybody's been kind of waiting on that one. It took me a little while to get that together.
Yeah, but it's ready now.
Yes, it is.
She
Have you-
waited till I was out of town.
Yeah. All distractions aside, that you got to focus, I guess. So the rock truck, the if you see the big bright green truck outside, after we end the show, I have to ask you about your awning.
Oh, yes.
I'm wearing my Destination Gymnastics shirt. We did a gymnastics class this morning, so we need to talk truck talk.
Oh, not a problem. I'm so excited to see that truck, and I hope we're going to work something out to where it comes up so we can work together.
We'll flip some things around, pun intended. We'll make it work. So the rock is your truck, your food truck, making
Yes, sir.
delicious food
Oh, thank you.
to go with fantastic beer. It's they sing, like when you put the right beer with the right burger, it really is like a magical moment.
It's always been something that Tiffany and I strive for when we had Rockwell, and now that her and Gary have this place and I'm up front, we get to try and do it again. And so far, it seems like it's being successful, and it's been a lot of fun already. We've gotten to see a lot of old faces and gotten to meet a lot of new people. So it's been a lot of fun.
Burgers and beer are a match made in heaven.
Let's talk about what's your favorite pairing? Like, do you have something that do y'all all agree like on what should be paired with what, or is there a bit of a contention as to
We haven't done any formal pairings yet.
Yeah, when we used to do the beer dinners, sometimes there was, she would think of something I wouldn't about the beer, and I would think of something about the food she didn't. But I think that's why we worked so well together, is we were able to come to that conclusion of what would make them both shine and shine together. And then we always tried to do more. We wanted to do more like pairings instead of, I didn't want it to taste like it. I didn't want it to just be an overall taste that went all the way across. We wanted them to complement each other.
Yeah, there's kind of a different way when you come with, like, there's different approaches to
Yes, there is.
beer. There's complementary,
Yes.
and there's similar, like, okay, so this chocolate dessert has chocolate, obviously.
Right,
and you can get like a
right.
chocolate beer with it.
Right.
And kind of do that whole thing. Or you can try to get what I like to call the wave effect.
Yes.
Where you start with one flavor and then it waves over
Yes.
here and the beer takes it and picks it up and kind of does this new thing with it, and then you're at the other end over here.
And
That's
then it
what
starts
I
throwing.
love.
Yeah.
That's what I love.
We do too. That's what we like the most, because then it throws it back to the food and it kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best dishes that really exemplified that at a beer dinner. Do you remember the coffee rubbed steak, Tiffany?
Oh, absolutely, with the blueberry lacquer.
Yes, with the blueberry lacquer, but I don't remember the beer because I'm the food
Gingerbread
girl.
Stout.
That was it, the gingerbread stout. And in the year before, because we did it annually, did the Christmas dinner annually with Buffalo Bayou, we did something sweet, of course, because that's really what people think about. And the next year I said, I don't want to go in that direction. I want to do something different with it. And that was probably really a fun pairing, because everybody thought, oh, it's not going to work, and it worked beautifully. So we had a lot of fun with that dinner. It was, we did some different stuff, and so those beers are really a lot of fun. Somebody brought up about the brewmaster down in Galveston the other day. Oh, it was Gus. Gus was here.
Yes.
And Gus said, oh, what was that beer that y'all did those 600 spring rolls for?
Ballast Point Indra Stout.
Yeah. So
Yep.
we love getting some of the more out there, different kinds of flavors and stuff, because they're fun. And then there's some that I just absolutely love to cook with. So Abita's Oyster Stout is one of my absolute favorites to make seafood with.
Yeah.
And I made Pontchartrain sauce with that, and it's just awesome. It cooks so well. And then we use beer in our onion rings, and different things that we cook. We like to incorporate the beer in it.
Mike, have you had the pleasure? Oh, sir.
Yet being the operative word.
Yeah. I'm so excited for you. Like, there's certain, like, in life, there's movies and there's dishes I wish I could go back and unwatch and untry so I could have it for the first time. Same thing with, like, beer and food. Like, that's the cool thing is, like, you find a dish that's delicious, but then you find a beer that pairs with something. That's like a whole nother experience. And it, when you first try them together and everything just kind of hits at that, at the right time and right place and all that kind of stuff, it really is like magic.
Thank you.
It really does. It involves like every part of your being. I'm going to brag that a couple episodes ago. Wait, what episode are we on? What episode is this?
190 something.
190 something. Right. What was the last episode? Was the last episode Randy? Last night, Randy Mosier. So not a couple episodes. That was last week. Wow, it seems like more than a week ago. Okay. Walking stick. Well, that's modes of bipedal transportation. Walking and running. Anyway, sorry, man. But Randy was talking about, and he's one of those guys where, first of all, if you love food and beer, tasting beer, you just grab it.
It's one of my beer Bibles.
Yes, but he's working on a new one, and he was talking about he's like a year and a half, 2 years off, and he's doing like a real deep scientific dive on like the science of tasting, and he talked about how you have flavor receptors like in your bones, and so like when you said like I could feel it in my bones, like you can literally feel like emotion and flavor and like that, all that stuff in your bones. So when you talk about, I don't know, sometimes I like to go like deep on like, a glass of beer is not just a glass of beer. It's like, it's an emotional, spiritual like journey that you go on.
I think that's why people associate memories so much with food and tasting. And smells.
Yeah, it goes
and
right.
aroma is a major thing. There's certain foods that I can cook or be around and immediately being taken back to my childhood or moments with my grandmother or my mom. And I truly understand that because I tell a lot of people one of the best compliments I've ever gotten, and I think it was on the chicken and dumplings, was she called it a hug in a bowl. And it's like, it's really meant comfort food. That's why it's called that.
Yeah.
It's so that it makes you feel comforted and secure, and it gives you those memories of good times in most cases.
Gemütlichkeit. there, Mike.
There you go.
It's a little piece of that. Like on
There you
but
go.
seriously, those chicken dumplings. Yeah, it was like one of those really squishy comforter duvet. Well, not a duvet. Duvet's just a blanket. What's the squishy one? That's like, is that just a comforter?
The comforter one.
It's like the down, like it's like silky and wraps around you, and it's that, but in your mouth with all the good flavors.
Thank you.
And then,
Then you pair a good beer with it.
yes,
And that beer changes throughout the course of the meal too. I mean, like the one you're drinking there, that dry Irish stout. You get that nice creamy head on top,
yep,
and those flavors change from the top of the glass to the bottom of the glass as the temperature changes as well. A lot of your roastiness opens up the warmer it gets.
yes, and the carbonation picks up. Maybe not as much with the
Nitro,
but yes, the fats in the food and the
Yeah.
carbonation comes in and picks it up and kind of scrubs it, and then you get to taste it, and then you swallow it. You feel it. You have taste receptors all down here, and it just comes out. And then what did Randy call it? The second, whatever the secondary, like you breathe out after you
Right.
drink, and it comes through. And
That's a big thing with sampling now, is to make sure you
breathe
breathe
out.
out through your nose
yes,
so that you smell it again and taste it again.
yeah, and man, there's so much to go through and try. I mean, because there's so many flavors and there's so many beers and there's so many ways, like even like texture of when you prepare, like how you cook the burger to get a good sear on it, and then the fat and the and then if you cheese, and then this chewiness of the bread and the
You're going to have us all hungry now.
Yeah. Is it lunchtime yet?
I think almost, and then you put like a juicy tomato that has a little bit of pop on it, and the crunch of like lettuce and whew.
Creaminess of the mayo.
Yeah. And maybe a little, if you got this, depending on the mustard, if there's a little tang, or if the sweet, or the.
And then you got the bacon.
Go on.
That
Just talk about some bacon.
Jalapeno bacon.
the jalapeno
Spice.
bacon.
Oh yeah. Everybody's been actually enjoying the mac and cheese, and we make it to where you can offer the regular bacon as well, but we put chopped jalapeno bacon in there if you want it, and it gives it a whole new level. And the things that you talk about, that's why I like to cook. I like for you to have layers. And it's something we do with our mac and cheese, is we make it to order at the time, because if I make a cheese sauce and I do all that, it doesn't taste the same. It's just a flat flavor. And we use 4 cheeses, so we layer that in there with the sauce and just stir it, not totally blend it out, so that you get all those different flavors.
Can you disclose the cheeses?
No.
I will disclose that they're from Boar's Head.
Okay.
Which that was a process by itself.
Yes, that was a process by itself. They're great
FYI,
people.
The Rock is the only food truck allowed to
Yes.
officially sell Boar's Head products in the
Really?
United States.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to apply, and they had to inspect the truck.
Really?
And the whole bit. And my rep was really funny, because he came to me and he said, "So apparently you're really special." And I said, "Well, of course I am." And he said, he says, "Real special, because I just found out you're the only food truck that's allowed to do this." And I was like, okay, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I didn't know that either. But
You need to put that on the sign somewhere.
yeah, we need to put it in our advertising. But their cheeses are really good. We have two white types of cheese and 2 cheddars, and one of them is a Longhorn. And back in the 70s, when my mother made macaroni and cheese when I was a kid, that was about the only thing you could get. So that we put that on top, but the other 3 are actually stirred inside once we put the bechamel sauce on it.
See, that's
so.
another, like, cheese. You want to scratch the, like, go on a whole nother deep
Oh,
dive.
yeah.
You go down
yeah.
that cheese rabbit hole. Cheese,
Oh, yeah.
Cheese hole. Cheese, whatever.
Something like that.
The Swiss hole, whatever. I'm just saying, like, you just say the word cheddar.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's an all-day conversation.
Cheddar is better.
Yeah.
But is
yeah.
it sharp? Is it mild? Does it come from here or
Right.
there? It's just like with beer. It's like, depending on what you put in it and how the process, and everybody's process is going to be a little different. And
Oh, I learned so much about beer when we had Rockwell, and I'm not a big beer drinker, even craft beer, but we now know what I like based on, and what is it? It's more about the yeast and what they use. Gudendrock is one of my favorites, and that's when we started realizing what it had to do with that went with my palate, because everybody thinks, oh, it's just your like or dislike, and it's not. Everybody's palate is totally different. So things affect it. Some people can actually taste more salt than sweet, and vice versa. Some can taste bitters, and some can't. So
Some people are real sensitive to different flavors too.
oh yes,
Absolutely.
yes,
So some to one person, like it'll turn them off.
right,
And
of
the
course.
next person will be like, no, it's perfect.
Oh yeah, and it's and of course that goes with smells too. But it's a total, the process of how they do the beer and what they put in it, and it's like anything else. I grew up with wild game, so a lot of that, people don't understand that it has to do with where the game fed and where where it grew up and how it's shot and how it's dressed and the whole bit.
Age of the animal.
Age of the animal,
Yeah.
all kinds of things. So this all goes along with anything that's crafted like this, beer and food, that it has to do with what you're doing with it and where you're getting your ingredients. And we source all our ingredients with the intent that first off it comes from here, United States, and if I do seafood, I make sure it's always here. We check for any problems that are going on out there, like, the lettuce scares and these kinds of things, to make sure everything's fresh in the way, so that we get a consistency every time, because we want you to have that experience every time you come.
Do you have a favorite lettuce?
We use, I don't know, it's hard to say. I don't like iceberg, I'll tell you that much, other than the crispness of it.
Yeah.
But as far as flavor, of course, there isn't much.
Right.
We use green leaf on the burgers. We've used romaine before. I like romaine a lot. Of course, it's had its issues this year, or last year rather.
Right.
And
Is that all cleared up? Is that all?
they say it is. Where I source my stuff, they actually have inspectors and this kind of things, so that we can check with them to make sure whatever we're buying is not within that genre of problems. We always are looking for new things to reach that little bit higher level. And it's been different on the truck. It's very different. I have almost the whole cooking side that I had in the restaurant, but we're very limited on storage.
Yes.
So that's a huge issue.
It's whatever you can fit in the glove compartment.
Right, that's right.
Very true.
A trailer, maybe? If you needed to store like a small trailer to pull or something?
Yes, we're actually going to do that for our dry goods and stuff. We're actually thinking about that. My dad has actually gotten me a trailer. I don't
cool.
have it yet,
Yeah.
but it'll be here probably another week or two. And but as far as where I have the shortage of storage is coolers. So we had 3 or 4 coolers in the restaurant, and I have 1. So we're learning, and we're cooking with propane, so we can't do some of the processes the way we did them before, because we can't just use our propane just for that. If we have a pot of water on the stove for the macaroni, I can't leave it there all day because it's using up my propane. So we've learned to adapt.
Well,
and
Hank Hill is happy to hear. Propane products.
Propane
Yes.
and propane accessories.
Accessories. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been challenging,
Yeah.
but interesting at the same time to figure it out.
Yeah, it's a different way of doing your game.
Oh
You
yes,
have to just-
oh yes, and the
yeah.
fact that we have been able to do it.
Yeah.
We're actually trying to figure out logistically how we're going to do brunch.
Oh.
Yeah, which we did at Rock, and at Rockwell, and everybody. That's other than one other item I will not mention on this show because we don't have it. The brunch is something we've been requested a whole lot, and
She doesn't want to mention it because she gets beat up by
oh
everybody
my
to bring it back.
gosh,
So.
you're not kidding.
She doesn't want to add fuel to that fire. Call it what it is.
Brunch is coming back.
But brunch is coming back. I don't know that the other item is coming back, but but you legally cannot serve on dishes. So that's the first challenge: is how do I really promote or put out there the brunch food the way we did it before?
So it all has
In
to
boats.
be boats or wraps or something.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
has to be.
Boats,
It has to
wraps, paper
be.
plates.
Yeah, it has to be to go type.
packaging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay, well, where's the line? Do they allow like the aluminum to go kind of deal, or is that?
Actually, they allow any kind of to go.
Is it only of a certain size?
As long as
No.
it's not a reusable plate or something like that can go in the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that gives me, I mean, there's a lot of options.
Yeah.
You know, thank you. But the issue is just figuring out how's it going to look presentation wise.
Right.
If you have to cut it, how well is that going to do in the container I put it in? Because, of course, the very first thing everybody wants is the Eggs Benedict. And that's, you know, it's pretty, it's, in a way, it's a delicate dish. So, and we want it presented well. So we're getting there. We're figuring it out. We're excited about it.
You know, initially you look at it and you're like, oh man, that's going to be a challenge, but it's a cool challenge.
It really is. It was a little, in the beginning, I was like, oh, I didn't think of that. You know, I kind of got a little frustrated with it. And then I kind of got into trying to figure it out and what could we do and what would make it, you know, work around. And well, I guess everybody who was our clients before, customers before, they've said it's either just like they remembered it or it's better. I'm not quite sure how it's better, but
Because they have it.
they have maybe, and that's what I'm thinking. It's been 2 years.
Yeah.
It's been 2 years.
It's hard to chew a memory.
Right. And then I was thinking this morning, the stories that people have told us that we didn't know of how people met and made friends there, and I'm not even going to go into what you said to me on the last day because you had me bawling the day we closed down. But it's delightful to know that we've kind of had an impact in this community, and we've been with, we've helped other people make friends and make memories, and that's pretty cool. And that they wanted us to come back, which is the main reason we're back.
Yeah.
The main reason I was willing to do this and do the truck was because of the fans and our previous customers who kept going, when are you going to open again? So I really appreciate all that support and all the love from the community. It's been great.
You know, that's been one of the rewarding, I think is the word you used, but exciting things that we see here is that, you know, we've been open roughly 9 months, and there's a set of friends that are here coming on a regular basis that didn't even know each other 9 months ago.
Oh, yeah.
And they're texting and calling and, you know, gathering. They go out to Twisted Acre together, you know, so they're it's just a community that's occurring, you know, and just watching it happen is really cool.
The beer community is awesome.
Yeah.
It's been really fun seeing that happen again with new people and the old people that the previous customers that we had, and
And a blending of the two.
Some
Of our established customers from Rockwell coming in, meeting new people here
right
at Brew 30, and just the blending has been really fantastic.
There's we had weddings that happened and people who met each other there and got married and have kids, and oh my God, I was introducing Gary to Jamie the other day, a friend of ours, and her husband have beautiful twins and a beautiful daughter who's about 5 years older than them, I guess. And this is one of our stories, is our very first beer dinner. So she was scheduled to have her twins, and she put it off so that they could come to the beer dinner.
She was not drinking, point of fact.
Right, point of fact. She was not drinking. She came so he could drink and she could eat.
Yeah.
But, so we still tell that story.
Yeah.
And they were so worn out, and we used to hold the babies so that they could eat,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
walk
yeah.
them around the restaurant.
Been there.
And
Their boys
Yeah.
cut their teeth on our tap handles.
so,
Literally.
literally. So it's, it's a family affair, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, speaking of pregnant people wanting to come to a beer dinner, I know that Brooklyn is getting ready to release they have a non-alcoholic beer that they've done.
Oh, really?
They released it in Finland or somewhere like that. For whatever reason, it's like Finland or Sweden, one of those places over there that, bunch of pale people living up north.
They need aggressive sunscreen.
Yes.
But their DWI laws are a bit more strict.
Yes. But their non-alcoholic beer sales are like 10% of the. Of
Wow.
Yeah, it's really high. Like here, it's like 0.006 or something along those lines. Was that a power surge?
I think so.
We had some in our neighborhood the other day.
We lost power pretty bad on Saturday.
Yeah. All that wind and everything.
I think it was the wind. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
It happens off and on with the road construction down the way.
Yeah. But the colder insulated, right? Everything.
Absolutely.
It'll last
and the
hours.
Great thing is you can still pour beer without power.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all CO2 powered, right?
Right.
So I'm going to ask now, when you talk about brunch, like best brunch beers,
Oh,
what do you think?
Oh, I have favorites. One of my favorite things is to make a beer mosa with Abita Strawberry Harvest and orange juice.
Yeah.
that's really good. It comes out really smooth.
Have you tried
Yeah.
that yet? Have you?
haven't.
Okay.
Still adding the champagne, right?
No, beer instead of champagne. It's a beer mosa. Beer mosa.
Mike's a little hoity-toity. He likes his flute.
He is from Champion Forest.
Yeah. Yes. It's the highfalutin part of town.
I don't drink that stuff, so.
A lot of the like wits and things like that go really well. Like that have kind of that orangey type citrusy. I bet some of the Nipas may. I don't know. Have
Yeah,
we-
I
Oh, yeah.
absolutely would think so. They would replace orange juice at brunch.
Yeah, we used to joke you need to order waffles with your Nipa, right?
Yeah. Actually, that'd be.
That wouldn't be too bad, right? Right?
Throw you could do like a waffle sandwich,
Right.
like a ham steak.
Chicken and waffles is what we would go for.
Oh, you could do that.
With the, what did I make that time? It was a peach,
Oh,
some kind of peach syrup
The
that we
peach
put on it.
syrup,
It's been a
yeah.
while since I've made it. I don't remember what all was in it now.
or you could just break out that
Oh,
the smoked orange,
oh yeah, the orange.
the candied jalapeno bacon,
So we-
smoked orange marmalade.
We got a little crazy one year.
Nice. I like that kind of.
We
crazy.
smoked oranges. We smoked the malt for one of the beers for Buffalo Bayou.
Smoke on the bayou.
Smoke on the Bayou. And so we used the pecan shells and we smoked oranges. And then I made marmalade. And then we added jalapeno bacon to the marmalade.
Candied.
Candied.
jalapeno
Yeah, it was
bacon.
candied jalapeno bacon. So we added that. And
Give me a straw.
it was, I still have some in the freezer. It really came out, it was really good on pork chops. But
I bet.
we gave that out. I jarred it, canned it, and we gave it out as a gift at Buffalo Bayou's Christmas dinner one year. And it was really good.
Then it made its way onto the menu for brunch.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And, we're talking about beers. I think it seemed like whenever we had Kilt Lifter on, that was something that people ordered quite a bit for brunch. You would have to explain the flavor profile for that as to why that is, but
Scotch ale. Say no more. Nice maltiness, little sweetness that goes with anything from eggs to French toast.
yeah, the French
Great
toast.
with French toast, let me tell you what.
Really?
Yeah, that's what
Especially
a lot
our
of people
French
got it.
toast with that sweet sourdough bread.
Yeah, so
How thick do you cut your French toast?
it's almost a half an inch thick.
Okay.
I think it's closer to 3/4.
You think it is?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to check that out. It's made at by a bakery here in town,
Okay.
who makes our buns as well, and we use fresh cream and allspice and cinnamon and sugar and
My stomach's about to start like I can feel it. Like, stomach gurgle.
So, yeah, and that will make it back on the brunch menu. We'll have quite a few new things just because of having to kind of change things up in how we do it. We'll probably still have Earl's Cajun hash, which is boudin and scrambled eggs, and it's named after my dad because that's his favorite dish.
Yeah.
But because we're bringing boudin egg rolls back eventually, that'll be on the truck. We haven't done it yet because I'm trying to get over to where the people are I buy it from, which is the east side of town. But yeah, so it's been fun. We're figuring out some new things, and onion petals. That was something that came out of necessity, but we already made our own. We made our homemade onion rings at Rockwell, but there was a process to it, and that process was going to take up too much room. So we thought about it and figured it out, and man, everybody loves pedals. So, including me, I have to leave them alone.
All right, so now we should talk. Now that everybody is just
Starving.
and looking for a place to pull over and get something to eat, or what are the hours here? Is it what days of the week are we open?
So Monday's our only day that we're closed.
So like barbers.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of.
Okay.
And then Tuesday through Thursday, 3 to 9-ish.
Okay.
Friday, Saturday is 11 to 10-ish. And then Sunday's going to be something different to 8-ish when we get the brunch going. So
Okay.
Right now it's
now it's
noon.
noon, yeah.
Okay.
And I always say ish because, if we've got a good crowd in here and they're enjoying themselves and experiencing craft beers, then, we'll stay open.
Okay. In the Rock.
So the food truck is open Wednesday through Sunday right now.
Okay.
Wednesday and Thursday we open at 5,
Okay.
and we're usually open till about 8:45, and because they close at 9 or 9-ish, and then Friday and Saturday we open at 11 and don't close till 9:45.
Okay.
Sundays right now is 2 to 6:30.
Okay.
When we open for brunch, we'll be opening at 10 and doing brunch from 10 to 2, and then our regular menu from 2 to 6:30.
Okay.
We're not sure whether we can do both at the same time yet because of limitations of the truck.
Sure.
We did do both at Rockwell, but we're not sure that that's what we can accomplish here. So we want to be able to make sure, we're giving out the best.
Yeah.
So we'll figure that out a little closer to the time. But that's probably brunch. We're probably looking at February.
Okay. That's right around the corner.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
Not
Like
the
two-
first weekend of
Right,
February.
yeah, not the first weekend of February. But
February's like not 7 days away.
I know. It's getting away from me. But yeah, so we'll see how things go after getting the truck back from the builders today. We will be open today.
What are they doing? They putting like a lift on it or something? Or
I wish.
hydraulics?
It needs hydraulics. We had a few things that, we figured out after been working in it that needed to be fixed. We're real pleased with the builders, which is Trailer Kings. They have been awesome, been great to help us with taking care of any problems we've had with it. During inspection, there's a few things that we passed, but we had a cooler that was too big. So I had to trade the cooler out.
Point of fact, you were the only food truck that passed inspection that day.
Yes, we were. That was, and you talk about nerve wracking. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that was because I've never been through it before, and it was freezing cold, and it actually snowed on us. So, but we passed, and it's a new experience. That's for sure. It's
That's
a new
cool.
experience, but a good one.
Yes.
A good one.
So, as you hear all of this description of delicious food and awesome beer pairings with said food, everybody just keep a watch on Facebook, social media, just to keep up with when the brunch starts, what the hours are going to be, what's going to be on the menu, the classics, the combinations, and all the good stuff.
Thank you so much, Josh. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. It's I would be doing a disservice to my fellow Houstonian and Greater Texan and mankind of all geographical locations that are able to pick up this podcast and hear it if I didn't tell them to come by here if they're in the area and get a great beer and try some delicious food, because it's a little piece of what life's all about, and good people and just the extension of the love you put in the food and the love y'all put into the beer and the atmosphere here. It exudes it all. So Brew 30
thank you.
It's a good spot, and
Just wait till we're brewing our own.
yeah. Oh, did we? I mean, let's real quick. Just we'll touch on that for a second, because that's a thing, right? Y'all are.
Yeah.
Was that from the plans from the very beginning?
It was, part of when we got together. I mentioned earlier that staying true to the craft beer was an important thing, but really it's about what sets us apart. And, staying true to the craft beer sets us apart from the average place, and brewing our own beer will set us apart from the average place. And so we're pretty excited about it. We still are crawling. We're not even up walking yet with it, but we're shopping for gear and talking about what the next steps are with the permitting process and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, phase 2 has always been kind of has always been in the plan. It's just now the hours we're putting in and the other things that we're doing is we got to push some things around to be able to get that going good.
Yeah. So just waiting on, just government to do, that sort of thing.
Can't
And,
rush the government right now.
No.
They'd have to be working first.
Yeah, right. Somebody's gonna, I'm sure it'll all be fine. I mean, it's the government. What's the worst that can happen? If there's anything I know about the government, is that they'll figure it all out, and it should work out perfectly.
Yeah, always.
Yeah. Glad you have faith.
Yeah. Tongue planted firmly in cheek. But I've got plenty of room. We mentioned you got to come in and see, but where back room back behind you would be the
Brew house.
The brew house, and
We already refer to it as that. So.
okay.
Yeah.
It's just a brew house in need of the brewing equipment.
Exactly.
But you said you're going to go electric.
Yeah.
Is that okay? That's exciting. I'm a fan of electric now. I think I'm on team electric. I don't know why there needs to be a team one way or the other, but if there is one, I've my curiosities and that sort of thing. When I dabble in home brewing, it's been a little while. Mike, are you team electric or team gas?
Right now I'm gas.
If you had to pick like your dream home brew setup, you team electric? Okay, team electric. We'll get some jerseys printed up. What do you think the time like if you had to? It's like 2 years, 5 years.
We're shooting for this year.
This year?
It's our goal for this year.
Okay.
Yeah, can't promise that. We
Sure.
with the permitting process we talked about earlier, just to get open, we lied to everybody about when we were going to open, and so we know that that will be similar when we get into the next phase. But
Okay.
that's what we'd like to accomplish.
It's always squishy. I think people like if we've seen anything, if you keep up with breweries and tap houses and bars and other establishments, there's the date that you plan on, and then
When it actually happens.
yeah, then the reality and how
Right.
people. I don't think anybody holds anybody to anything set in stone. But you're open right now, and you got a lot of awesome beer and some delicious food out front. So is there anything else we need to touch on before? I'm just like, I got so hungry.
Yeah, right.
Melinda came in and just wrecked my concentration.
Yeah, how quickly can you get the rock back?
Oh, I know.
All right. So anyway, if you find yourself in Cypress, consider yourself blessed and bless yourself a little more and come by Brew 30. Check social for hours and events and bands and food.
Axe throwing.
Dog adoptions.
Dog adoptions coming up this weekend.
This weekend, Saturday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, come find a friend.
Yeah, come find a friend, a furry face, and
Beer drinking buddy.
beer drinking buddy. Yeah, they're some of the best. They just look. They don't drink any of your beer. That's the thing. Like, my wife is really into IPAs. I bring home a cigar. I'm like, okay, you should try this. And it was quaint when her hours have changed with the new business, and so she used to work until about 9 o'clock at night. And so when she got home, she was too tired. But now she's done a little earlier, and now she has time, God bless her, to sit down and really contemplate the day and enjoy a beer and unwind. And I'm so happy for her. But she drinks all the IPAs. And it's like, we had beer. What happened to the beer? She's like, I enjoyed a few, two yesterday. And like then a friend comes over to pick up their dog because we were always carrying the kids around. And so then they sit and have a beer, which is great. But I just didn't anticipate it when I bought those. Like, that beer will be there when I get back, and now it's not. But we'll just go to Brew 30 and grab a beer.
There you go.
How about
There you
that? All right. Well, everybody, Mike, any final questions, comments, anything?
I'll be back.
Right.
There you go. So
Awesome.
he'll channel his inner Terminator and come terminate some beers. All right. Well, everybody, come to Brew 30. Come try the rock, and you won't be disappointed. In fact, you'll be elated. I guarantee elation. That's what I'm going to guarantee right now. So for Melinda, for Tiffany, for Gary, for TD Mike, I'm going to stall as I reach forward to grab my little thing here and say, you've been listening to InterBrews.
This is InterBrews.
The preceding has been a presentation of Stewed Productions.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of InterBrews. If you did, hey, show us some support. Go to our Patreon page, become a Patreon supporter, and there's exclusive interviews and episodes just for you. If you do that, if you've enjoyed the show, get a little more, and help us go on for another 7 years. It's been 7 years. We want to go on for 7 more. I guess that's a long time. 14 years for a podcast. Has anybody done that? I don't think so. Anyway, show your support if you'd like. We really appreciate it a ton, and exclusive shows. So thank you in advance, and we'll see you next episode of InterBrews.